Carden, MP for Liverpool Walton. And very proud to serve in the leadership team of Jeremy Corbyn as a Shadow Minister. It is an absolute honour for me to welcome you all to my home city of Liverpool. There couldn't be a better backdrop or setting for 2018's Labour Party annual conference. Friends, it was in this city in 1911 when the general transport workers went on strike and stood with their trade union brothers and sisters, and 2 were murdered and hundreds were injured as the full force of the state was used against them. And it was in 1995 when my own dad went into dispute alongside 500 sacked Liverpool dockers, a dispute that lasted 27 months, left my dad unemployed for 7 years, and was all about the casualisation of employment, something that ravages the whole of our country today. And it was in this city that the families and survivors of that Hillsborough tragedy have fought for 3 decades to get truth and justice for the 96 that we can now say were unlawfully killed. But let's remember their fight for justice continues to this very day. And friends, it was only 2 years ago that Jeremy Corbyn came to this city and was greeted by 10,000 people outside St. George's Hall on a wet Monday afternoon. 10,000 people drawn by his message of hope. And just last year, when I stood for Parliament for the first time and Liverpool gave the Labour Party its best ever election result with Jeremy Corbyn as its leader. And that's for one very simple reason. Because all of the achievements of this Labour movement, which has stretched well over a century, are under unprecedented attack. Attack on our social security, attacks on workers' rights, and attacks on the public services that we rely on. Most of all, we've seen an attack on our collective imagination. And that's why today's Labour Party, today's Labour leadership is telling the British people a new story and creating a new narrative for our country. Friends, I refuse to accept that in the 5th richest country on the planet, we can no longer provide secure, well-paid employment or decent homes. Yet this generation, the younger generation, have only ever known casual, low-paid, zero-hour economy that the 21st century capitalist system demands. Even when the system came crashing down 10 years ago, with the financial crisis, the change that we needed failed to come. And it was the absence of hope, the lack of an alternative, that allowed the long winter of austerity to start. A political project to make working people and our communities pay for the problems created by an elite. But today, friends, we call time on that political project. When Jeremy Corbyn was elected leader of the Labour Party in 2015, it was because he articulated what we all knew deep down, that there is an alternative. There is an alternative to 1 million people using food banks. There's an alternative to an insecure, low-paid, zero-hour jobs market. And there is an alternative to having thousands of our fellow citizens sleeping rough on the streets. We live in an uncertain world, and it stands at a crossroads. By 2030, the richest 1% of people will own two-thirds of the global wealth. And that's why the next Labour government won't just rebuild Britain and transform our economy. We will build a fairer world by tackling global inequality, not just poverty, by putting justice, not charity, at the heart of international development, and by ending the bomb first, think later approach to foreign policy. And friends, that's why I'm so proud Jeremy Corbyn is a true internationalist, and his record speaks for itself. He was right on apartheid, he was right on Chile, he was right on Afghanistan, right on Libya, and he was right on Iraq. And just pause for a moment. Just pause to think about what a different world it would be if we'd called those disastrous foreign policy decisions right. The global impact of a Corbyn-led Labour government could dwarf anything that it achieves domestically. None of it will be easy, comrades. It means fundamentally challenging deeply entrenched vested interests. And that is why we've seen the most sustained attack on a leader of the opposition in our lifetime. So my plea to you is, do not succumb to fear. Do not succumb to despair. And do not give them an inch. No matter what they throw at us, they cannot erase the 13 million votes we won at the last election. And they cannot ignore the fact that the Labour Party, with 500,000 plus members, is the largest political party in the whole of Europe. So, friends, it will take all of our collective strength, our membership and our trade unions working together to achieve real change. But another world isn't just possible, it is in sight. Thank you, solidarity friends.